Hey everybody, welcome to Obscurities and Miniatures. We're back with some more 3D printed models. Today's models come to us from a relatively new Patreon I stumbled upon called Blood Orange Miniatures, and obviously we'll have a link down there below if you are curious. Now, if you've listened to me for more than a couple of occasions, you'll know that I am particularly fond of Japanese and, well, Asian traditional middle-aged medieval Asian fantasy models in general, and it's something that we really haven't seen a whole lot of in terms of 3D printing models yet. I add that caveat because, yes, I know Titan Forge took some of their Dragon Empire models and put them up on their Patreon, and they were part of their Bloodfield Kickstarter, but that's about all I can really think of. And I mean, obviously I'm always on the lookout for something new and different. And that's when I stumbled upon Blood Orange Miniatures. Now, they did have some models for some freebie files available, I want to say on Thingiverse. You can probably take a look there. They had some Kunoichi models, and I think that's what these ladies were. Now, these were one of the very first releases from Blood Orange Miniatures. They've had a couple of releases now, and I thought we would touch on a few of what they have released so far. So these models, I wanted to point out, I'm not the biggest fan of when models are attached to bases. I usually have a terrible time getting them removed from the supports, and these ladies were no exception. I've broken this model at least 3 times to my recollection now. But the detail is quite nice, and it's not your usual overtly cheesecakey looking pose. Obviously, yeah, she's doing her high kicks and her Chun-Li pose, but the clothes are at least a little bit more under control. They're obviously very fantasy inspired and not very traditional in any sense of the word, but that's okay. I am absolutely shocked that I got this model to print out okay, what with that delicate umbrella, but no, she actually turned out all right. Any loss of detail, I'm going to blame 100% on me and the death of the last of my rattle can primers. It was dying a quick death, and it was just spurting out whatever its last breaths were. So if there's any splotchy parts, honestly and truly, that's on me. But yeah, these models, I like them, like the poses, and they were the biggest challenge to get off of the build plate. There was another little spike on this one. I broke the tonfas. Her feet broke off. It was just a mess trying to keep these models in one piece. But they are kind of nice. I do like what they look like. Something definitely different. And then finally, the last one. Surprisingly, for the most delicate bit sticking out every which way, this model actually came off intact. I think that's because I actually printed her upside down, and that's all the little support scars. But that's okay, because we're going to put, sand and grit and junk on the base, and it won't even matter. I do like the eye patch. The big anime-style shuriken on her back. So this was the first release, and all the subsequent releases that they've done have all done away with the integrated bases, thankfully. Again, I'm never really sure how I should be printing these. Should I just flip them over? Actually, that's probably the best bet from now on, because it's always going to get the top of that base covered anyways. She came out in one piece too, come to think of it. So then we have some of the newer models. We'll grab some of them. Here is a newer one. She seems to be about the same size, but they're not on the integrated bases anymore. Now, I did not print every single model that they've released yet. They had a couple of little demons and yokai type things. This was an interesting misprint. I don't know how that happened. I'm going to blame that on me just yanking all the supports off. I believe she is supposed to be pulling a sword out of a scabbard, or at least holding the hilt of it. And then there was another little spike right here by my thumb that was supposed to be on that skirt. That is no longer there. Or on the front, come to think of it. Whoops. So, yeah. What I really wanted to show off were some of his newest sculpts. Now, these I thought were quite nice. Good size scale, nice, bulky. Proportions are a little bit thicker and larger than the earlier releases. Well, maybe not that one, but they still scale up pretty well. Obviously, I put them on 30mm bases. We've got our samurai with the Nagi nut up, which I snapped off those. That was fun. I like this samurai. I think she looks pretty cool. Yeah, I need to file that down and sand that. I know that. Don't need any comments on that. But nice dynamicism in the pose, sense of movement, sense of depth, nice 3D effect of the model. And then we've got our big, bulky, armored guy. Nice touches on the details on the armor. Everything really came through despite me lorbing it on with that primer. So, the inevitable question I always like to ask, how do these models stack up to other stuff out there? Keeping in mind that since they are 3D printed models, you can print them to whatever size you want. I always print them as the intended 100% of what they were uploaded as. So, lo and behold, grabbing my ever-present samurai from Forbidden Fortress, they stack up nice and neat. Grabbing a Bushido model, they also fit in pretty well. These are definitely erring more on the 30 to 32 millimeter side of things. Even with our integrated base friends, I think they blend in pretty well. Got a Kensei figure here. You can see the Kensei model is a little bit smaller, a little bit more stockier in proportions. They are more along the more traditional lines of sculpting sizes. So if you're going to, want to mix them with like Clan War stuff as well, I think they're going to be a little bit different in size. Grabbing one of the Legends of the Five Rings models from Privateer's Mini Crate, which I really wish they would re-release in some way, shape, or form. Again, looks nice and similar in terms of size and scale. Can we fit you in without breaking you? So yeah, definitely these are perfect for if you're going to do any kind of modern sized fantasy Asian themed skirmish gaming, board gaming. I think these models would work great for that. Obviously, my first thought, as always, is going to be something like Shadows of Brimstone, Ronin. I know those are the first two that always pop to my head. Sengoku Monster Hunter, that Alternative Armies publishes. I really like that rule set. It's got some fun stuff in there. Kind of good for both solo and multiplayer as well. So definitely, if you're looking for more Asian themed models, I think you guys really can't go wrong with what Blood Orange Miniatures is offering up. They have a nice range so far. Hopefully we're going to continue to see that grow. Like I said, there are a couple of yokai models in there as well that I just haven't printed yet. And honestly, the price is quite nice. I want to say it's like only $5 or $6 for a couple models a month. I can get behind that. That's like, one lunch eating out or something. So definitely affordable, definitely nice quality sculpts, and it definitely fits in with other Asian fantasy Japanese themed models out there. So good job on that. And hopefully we're going to stay away from these kind of models moving forward, because I'm going to break them all. And I don't want that. So anyways, with that said, this has been High Lord Tamberlane with Obscurities and Miniatures, saying thanks for watching, and we'll see you back here soon. Bye-bye.